But if I have got this one completely wrong, and this does spell the end for doctors and humanity as a whole, I just want to make it absolutely clear at this point. Hi and welcome back to the channel. So earlier this week, Google held their annual I/O conference. Now this is their opportunity to show the world what they've been working on. And each year they managed to demonstrate some really genuinely cool new technology. And this year was no exception. I'm going to talk about 3 of their products that have some medical implications and my opinions on them. As you're no doubt aware, breast cancer is one of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality in the developed world. It's estimated that around 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. If we compare the proportion of people affected by cancer as a whole, breast cancer unfortunately comes out on top. Now the good news is that we are significantly better at diagnosing and treating this than about 20 to 30 years ago. But how can we get better? That's where Google Health comes in. They've been using their machine learning technology to target the diagnosis of breast cancer. And they've analysed hundreds of thousands of mammograms to develop a tool that can aid doctors in diagnosing breast cancer. Women who take part in this Google Health study will have their mammograms reviewed by an investigational AI model that flags for immediate review by a radiologist if they show a higher likelihood of breast cancer. A radiologist can then prioritise looking at these scans themselves and determine whether further imaging is needed or not. At present, the purpose of this software is not to replace a doctor, but just to identify potentially worrying signs. But this is still incredibly useful. It's an added tool that can hopefully speed up the time of diagnosis, as it can analyse hundreds of scans at once. And hopefully, one day, it might lead to an improved rate of diagnosis as well. They've even published the results in Nature, which show just how promising this could be. Using a similar concept, Google are training their deep learning system to analyse chest x-rays to diagnose active tuberculosis. TB affects about 10 million people per year, so it has a huge disease burden worldwide. Their recent study is demonstrating that their deep learning system can be used to accurately identify patients who are likely to have active TB based on their chest x-ray. Now this screening tool is a preliminary step before ordering a more expensive scan, like a CT. In fact, their study showed that their AI-powered screening tool could save up to 80% of the cost per patient with TB. And given the numbers of people affected by TB, this could have a significant time and cost-saving implication. Reading further into this, maybe one day we could reach a point where we could use similar AI-powered screening, not just in aiding the diagnosis of breast cancer and TB, but other diseases. Screening programs exist for a number of cancers around the world, but these are often costly. This could be truly transformational in terms of diagnosis, and also to reduce costs. I personally can't wait to see what they train their machine learning on, and hopefully improve. So, next up, they released a new diagnostic screening tool for 288 skin, hair, and nail conditions. And this in itself is pretty awesome. It's going to be a web app that anyone can use from their phone. You just need to take 3 different photos from different angles, and it will show you a list of possible diagnoses. This tool is apparently the result of over 3 years of machine learning research, with a bunch of peer-reviewed papers along the way that validate this AI model. They've even demonstrated that their AI system can achieve an accuracy level that is on par with certified dermatologists. And it's shown that non-specialist doctors can use this to improve their ability to interpret skin conditions. What's even more impressive is that their model accounts for different factors, such as age, sex, and different skin types, from pale to dark brown skin. They've analysed millions of images of skin diseases and also healthy skin across these different demographics. It's even managed to get a CE mark as a Class 1 medical device in the EU, and apparently it will launch later this year. On the face of things, this is another pretty incredible innovation, and I hope that this will lead to better recognition of skin conditions. As a GP, I know how incredibly common it can be for people to worry about their skin lesions. I hope that this software will lead to fewer people worrying about moles, but I am slightly concerned about the negative consequences of this. Health anxiety is a real issue, and there's always a risk with software like this that it could exacerbate this rather than reassure people. But let's hope it doesn't lead to further health anxieties in people with non-concerning skin lesions. The next innovation highlighted wasn't specifically targeted at health, but it's definitely worth a mention. One of the most difficult aspects of creating a digital assistant like Siri or Google Assistant is to make it actually talk like a human rather than a robot. So far, if you were to ask it a simple question like, "What's the weather like today?" it would give you a pretty robotic answer.
The richness and flexibility of language make it one of humanity's greatest tools and one of computer science's greatest challenges. If someone asks me if the temperature in the room is okay, and I say I'm freezing, they know that I'm very cold, not literally freezing. Or if someone says, "What's the weather like today?" I don't respond, "It's 70 degrees, sunny, and a 12% chance of rain." I'd probably say, "It's starting to feel like summer. I might eat lunch outside." Sensible responses keep conversations going and allow them to end up in a completely different place from where they started. Even if I began by talking about the weather, we may end up talking about football.
The problem is that language is incredibly complicated. There's nuance and context to everything that we say, and that's really hard for a computer to emulate. So the holy grail is to create a conversational AI, a bit like Jarvis from Iron Man, and look what they've managed to come up with.
Today, I'm excited to share our latest breakthrough in natural language understanding, LaMDA. It's a language model for dialogue applications, and it's open domain, which means it's designed to converse on any topic. And while it's still in research and development, we've been using it internally to explore novel interactions. For example, say you wanted to learn about one of my favorite planets, Pluto. LaMDA already understands quite a lot about Pluto and millions of other topics. Let's listen to a conversation the team had with Pluto a few days ago.
I'm so curious about you.
I sense your excitement. Ask me anything.
Tell me what I would see if I visited.
You would get to see a massive canyon, some frozen icebergs, geysers, and some craters.
It sounds beautiful.
I assure you it is worth the trip. However, you need to bring your coat, because it gets really cold.
I'll keep that in mind. Hey, I was wondering, have you ever had any visitors?
Yes, I have had some. The most notable was New Horizons, the spacecraft that visited me.
That must have been exciting.
The team that created New Horizons was very excited to see me. I also sent them back a picture of myself since I had not been seen up close before.
That's so great. What else do you wish people knew about you?
I wish people knew that I am not just a random ice ball. I am actually a beautiful planet.
Well, I think you're beautiful.
I am glad to hear that. I don't get the recognition I deserve. Sometimes people refer to me as just a dwarf planet.
How incredible is that? They've managed to create something closer to conversational language than anything I've seen before. But I can't be the only person that's a little bit freaked out about where this is going. Now, thankfully, they claim that they are building in safeguards into these AI models to follow a strict moral and ethical code of conduct. But even that's pretty scary, right? I mean, who gets to make those decisions in the first place? But if we take a step back and look at the potential positive consequences of this, it's also pretty exciting. Imagine if all of these tools developed could work in harmony, could almost turn into a digital clinician. I've often thought that for all the hype of AI, it could never truly replace an actual doctor. People want the human touch and empathy that you simply can't get from a machine. What's much more likely is that doctors will be able to make use of awesome tools like this to more accurately diagnose and treat patients. So, as with most forms of technology, my personal opinion is that they're not going to replace us, but rather work with us and help us make better decisions. And for doctors, hopefully that will lead to better patient outcomes. But if I have got this one completely wrong, and this does spell the end for doctors and humanity as a whole, I just want to make it absolutely clear at this point that I, for one, completely respect our robot overlords, so please remember that. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think about Google's product announcements in the comments below. Oh, and remember to hit like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you next time. See ya!